All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So I'm going to be covering 3 stocks on this one, maybe 4 if there's some time, but we're going to look at Bullfrog, we'll look at Soundhound, and then I want to cover AQST. I think it's starting to become a cool regular I might be keeping here, okay? So interesting day on Bullfrog to say the least, all right? So obviously huge volume coming in. You know this is going to be something I'm going to talk about a good amount. There was a real headline, right? And I'll talk about the headline, but in general, you know what I say, right? I care less about headlines and more about what happens to these colorful lines that I care so much about, right? So interesting things did happen. We obviously gapped over 4 of the 5, made a run over the 5th one as well, and then clearly ended here. So crazy day. Kind of excited actually to talk about this one for sure. Soundhound, man, we were literally talking about the Russell in the Discord earlier today, but yeah, I never used to look at the Russell. I now have a lot of eyes on the Russell, and I think just it's very indicative of that. And then just in general, there's an overall weirdness in the markets even beyond the Russell. You know what I mean? So Soundhound, that's kind of my thoughts there, and then again we'll look at the charts, and then AQST. I don't think I know what it did today. I don't actually. So I don't think it was horrible yesterday. I think we were still over the 8 moving average yesterday, if I wasn't mistaken. But that one's pretty much going to be a fresh thought, as you can tell right now. But yeah, really excited to cover these ones. But before we go any further and I give you more of my thoughts and opinions, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps me so much with these YouTube algorithms. If you can actually share the video, oh, it does so much, and it's just a little click away on your end. So let's get into Bullfrog. And my, what a day. And you know I normally always start up here, but how can I not start at volume, all right? Yesterday, when we look in the box over there near the bottom, you can see volume, VOL. It was 100K, 107,000 shares. The day before that was 18K, all right? Now, what was the day before that? 50-something K, all right? So obviously Friday I kind of think is the worst, so I don't even highlight that as like a massive 10K. Like this one was 50, this one was 100. That's probably in the range of what it normally is. Today was 50 million instead of the 50K it's used to. It actually just skyrocketed up, right? So huge volume spike. And again, volume is king, volume is queen for my ladies out there, right? And this is what volume does. Even on an ugly candle ending, it was still a 20% plus, right? But yeah, this is not the candle I wanted to see today at all, because there was, I started the video with it. There was minutes where this thing was pushing over the 200 and running into the 4s, right? I mean, this looked like a really big day, but lo and behold, what happens? And again, just look in the box over there. We open the second line at $3.18. We then close at the green line on top, the exact same number, $3.18. That is also the 4th line down, which is the low of the day, and that is the one thing I hate the most, all right? Generally, all right, generally, when I say that there's a doji, there's both a wick up and a wick down. There isn't even a minuscule line below. And again, it says it right there. The low of the day of 318 ends up being the close of the day, which was also the open at, like, literally till the last second, people were selling and selling and selling and selling and selling, and no one bought a little bit more at the end. You know what I mean? Like, they just kept selling till the end. And I think that probably bothers me the most. Yo, I for sure see this thing going up after hours. I do. That to me doesn't matter at all. If you watch my videos, you know that well, right? Like that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the way that this thing closed during regular hours. Oh, I don't like that. I never like it when the low of the day is the close of the day. I especially don't like a doji that like isn't a doji in almost some ways. Like there's no line below. Again, I'm not a pattern guy. I don't know if there's actually a name for this when there's no line below. Maybe it's actually not a doji. My little ignorant self calls it one, right? So it works well for me. You know I'm not here for perfect. Good enough is so good. Believe me, all right? Perfection is the killer of really good. That's a good quote right there I'll throw in. But yeah, look, I think this resistance right here, 334, is an interesting one. Again, look, I see it dancing with it after hours. I see the blue line going up and down with it, right? Like, I don't care. What really needs to happen is we got to get over this. And I just want to zoom out. Let me see where that looks like. Oh, yeah, that's a real important line. That's a real important line, right? Because, again, what happens? We do this nice jump up. We do this horrible drop down, and then we try to recover. We try to recover, we try to recover, we try to recover, we try to recover. We're almost recovered, but we actually still could. This thing has now stopped us a couple times, once right there, and once right here as well, right? So yeah, this is definitely a pretty hard resistance, and looky, right? I know I kind of talked about it, but zooming out made me realize that this is a fresh line. This is not an old stuff. This has barely been trading for a little more than 200 days. This day right here, no, this one right here, look, on this day, the November 28th, there is no 100 moving average. The day after, boop, now we have the 200 moving average on the 29th. It was in late November that this thing's been alive for 200 days, right? So yeah, this thing's barely a year old, right? So not a lot of history, fresh line. Clearly, we've never been over it, but hey, yeah, if we can get over it, you're going to be over all the movings. And then the 100 itself actually just caught my eye, all right? The blue line right here. You can see there was a little attempt in August. It's weird. I'm surprised this didn't confirm and go, but you can see that was the IPO resistance line, the first real kind of support resistance that this thing had. Like, yeah, it makes sense that the $5 was a struggle. I get that. So aside from that little moment in late July, August, we have essentially been well under the 100 moving average for months and months, all right? I like this little attempt here that we saw in the end of December. Look, obviously, we are physically over the line, right? Like, I get that. We ended here, right? I get that. I need real candles to believe, all right? I'm still not believing that we've gotten over the 100. Look, I would not be surprised if we closed at $3.08 tomorrow. I actually really wouldn't be surprised if we closed at $2.92 tomorrow. I think both of those are very, very logical lines down. Again, I think the money line is going to be this 334. I think the amount of resistance that this thing has been for just so long, literally from, what is this first one? From late August, and doing it a number of times all the way through today, right? So this 334 line, I think, is going to be it. Is there something there on the weekly? No, not quite. Oh, look at that. We still have not been alive for 50 weeks. We have to be close, though. We have to be close. I'm sure that 50 moving average on the weekly will be forming soon. Hey, this is an interesting weekly, it looks like, because we just try to get over the 20. We just try to get over the 20. We'll see where it ends, right? But assuming we end around here by the end of the week, yeah, I think it's kind of that same 100 moving average story over there. It looks a little more interesting there. Yeah, look, MACD and RSI are definitely going to look good when you have a crazy volume spike and a big little move there, right? But to me, I think tomorrow's confirmation is really going to be what matters, all right? So the headline was legit, all right? I don't know if I really mentioned that much, but the headline was legit. What I saw was well, let me take that back, okay? The headline was early research findings that seemed good, right? So 1 second, I got to hit pause. My wife's in the background. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, the big boss. But yeah, no, again, the news was early research finding, right? So it's a little bit of an interesting headline because, again, it's maybe good forward guidance, right? And that's always a good thing, but nothing necessarily definitive. Hey, good research is cool, but I gotta believe there have been companies with some fantastic research that, lo and behold, went bankrupt and no longer exist and no one knows their name anymore, right? So, yeah, research is good, but hey, can you monetize it is really what it comes down to, right? So, again, I'm not here to sound like a hater or like, spread fear, blah, 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 but it's important to like, don't just take the headline blindly as good if that's what it's trying to be, right? Like you've got to add a little bit of like skepticism and criticism when you read things, right? Because yeah, again, I got to believe there have been geniuses out there with some amazing ideas and amazing research and all that. And hey, yeah, lo and behold, they're probably still living with, I don't want to make that bad joke, right? But yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? So just let the market reaction speak for itself. This was a very, very undecisive one, and we need to see what the truth is, all right? So tomorrow should say what it is, all right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you disagreed, right? Like, I'm not here pretending my thoughts are absolute, so I'm always open to some good opposite thoughts, all right? Otherwise, let's move in to SOUNDHOUND. And look, I think one thing that makes me not believe in Bullfrog just a little bit is the fact that SOUNDHOUND really didn't get to like recover a little bit from the day. Okay, so usually I believe, right, like these are general thoughts across any sector, but if one stock in the sector, especially kind of a smaller random one, is going to do really well, you kind of get a little excited about the bigger ones because they're a little bit more established, right? And they should be doing some good things too, right? And all that sort of stuff. So I'm a little surprised that Bullfrog's good news didn't lift it. Again, I just kind of ended the video with my thoughts on that news, but yeah, it wasn't the most definitive thing either, right? So in some ways, yeah, it was a nice headline, and I think the candle spoke for itself, but to SOUNDHOUND itself, I'm going to look here before I take my zoom out into the NASDAQ and the Russell as I've been doing. But there are some bad things happening, all right? There are. And I'll start with what I've been kind of echoing for a while was the 100 moving average oscillation, all right? This line was a pest for a while. We try to go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down, we go up, we go down. Like that's what oscillating is, right? Just ups and downs. We go from this, like, we're clearly under it to very constant over under to constantly over to constantly below and now going even lower. I don't know if there's an oscillation still happening here and now we're hopefully on the low side and hopefully we'll come back up, or if what's happening is this 8 moving average is actually coming down pretty hard. This 20 is also starting to come really hard. Over the last couple days, over the last 3 candles, we've death crossed the 50, and when the smaller one goes above the bigger ones, that's a golden cross. Golden is good. Everyone wants that gold, right? When it goes below them, that's a death cross, and yeah, no one wants anything that starts with death, right? So that's definitely not a good thing, right? And I'm starting to see these 2 really important lines that I talk about always on any stock. These 2 are starting to go down, and that's not good. Like it was going up. It was at least maintaining. It's no longer maintaining. And one thing that I never like is when the gap starts to open, because like I've seen it where the gap open can go for a long time. And that's not what I'm implying here just yet, but this is an important line that we're sitting at right now. This line right here was something here, was a little bit of something here, like the bottom of this guy. I'm looking as far back now as August, right? So I remember saying if this 184 line doesn't hold well, I don't think this 167 will, and it might be a fast drop to 152. And I think that's still my echoing thought right now. Now look, we still haven't necessarily lost this 184 line, okay? Yesterday does close down here. It closes at 182. Yes, it opens up here at 1 187, as you can see in the second line of the box over there, but it goes all the way down and closes down here, right? So that's not good and clearly under 184. Today doesn't count because that's not a real candle, right? That's what I call a doji in my little simple head, right? So I still need another candle to confirm, but I'm not liking the MACD, I'm not liking the RSI, and man, volume, it's funny, right? Because volume hasn't, I guess, been horrible, and you can actually see the volume's been decreasing in terms of the sell-off, right? I'm making a nice little healthy like downtrend over the last, what, 2, 4, 6 trading days, right? Like, it's not like the sell-off is increasing and like going like that and like that thing, right? It's not like it's going like that, right? So in some ways, hey, I'm glad that the sell-off is going down. Maybe that means this 184 has a little bit of life and we're going to come up, all right? Clearly, I hope you can see it before I even said it, but there's a lot going on right here. There are 3 moving averages. You can basically say 2, because I'm imagining that this 20 moving average is going to keep coming down while those two stay right there, the 50 and the 100. So 208 is really, really going to be an important line. But right now, I need to believe that we're holding the 184 line, all right? Because again, if the 8 keeps coming down, maybe we'll just come up to it, but we won't go over it, right? So 184, I think, is going to be the big story here for now. Hopefully, the sell-off decrease helps. It's not like the sell-off is just going and going and going, right? So hopefully that's a little indicative. Let me take the zoom out real quick, and I want to start with the Russell. Russell ain't looking good. All right, Russell is the lowest of the 4, excuse me. Because when I talk about the indices, I'm normally talking about 3 of them, right? I'm normally talking about the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and NASDAQ. Russell is worse than all of them. Russell is actually kissing the 50 moving average at this point. Russell has come well below the 8 and the 20. The 8 is actually death crossed the 20 over here, right? So Russell is not looking good. Russell has a bad MACD, a bad RSI, and pretty bad volume, right? Let alone a whole mess of red candles, right? When I look at NASDAQ, it's not as bad, but it's definitely not as strong as it was, right? We are under the 8 and the 20. I actually don't like it when the 20 is over the 8. It should be 8 over 20. Like, it should look like this, not like this. So there are some things that I'm not liking here. There's obviously a lot that I'm not liking on the Russell. It's hard to expect things to happen here, right? It's funny, I actually forgot that SoundHound was in the Russell. That was a comment, and you know I appreciate when you guys give me the information I either forget or don't know, right? But I very much remember how excited we were from the uplisting into the Russell. That was a real big deal, and yeah, I look at so many tickers and so many things, I barely forget. I barely remember them, you know what I mean? But yeah, it makes sense why watching IWM is kind of connecting the lines here, right? So let me look at the weekly real quick. Yeah, not too much to discuss here on the weekly. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Again, we gotta hold this, otherwise 152 seems to make sense. So AQST is the last one I want to look at. Listen, this is exactly what I thought. Okay, and actually yesterday closed better than I expected. All right, what am I looking at? I am looking at the 8 moving average, all right? You know my rhyme, okay? Break all 5 and fly. It has tried to do it here. It's trying to maintain here. This is catching my eye very quickly. It's this RSI. So I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. Let me gather my thoughts. Okay. Again, I like it when a stock can bounce on the 8 moving average. I like it when it like has seemingly done it before too. It wasn't that many times here, right? But you know, I wanted a little bit more of a takeoff. I can honestly easily say that, but hey, I'm glad we're still over the lines. Look, RSI got super high. It was an 88 on this day, just living in the high 79, 80, high 79. Like, I always say 80 is really high and you need to kind of come down, right? So some of me thinks, hey, maybe we'll come down as low as like 249, maybe 241, okay? I would love to just never lose the 8. Like tomorrow's candle, if we can get back to this, I'm not even asking for a lot. And look, I know after hours is going there. I don't care about after. Oh, after hours brought us down. Did it? It did. Interesting. Whatever. I don't care about after hours. I can tell you that. But all I really need tomorrow, give me like 263, 264, 265. That would be a real nice place for this to close. Because, again, I don't necessarily like it's, how do I say this? From the 79, if we were to go up again to even this high, right? Even as high as 88, it's a little, it's a little lackluster. Okay, I remember one of the things I talked about was I thought maybe we would actually get over this 287 line, maybe come down a little bit and then go up, right? So far we haven't quite, I'm trying to like find the zoom, there we go. So far we haven't quite been able to get over it, but hey, if we can at least stay here just under this 257, I still see some good here. I do, right? Like there's definitely an uptrend right there. There's definitely a steeper uptrend right there. And then there's even a steeper uptrend right there, right? So I like it when the uptrend slope gets steeper and steeper and steeper. It's going higher and higher up. That's a good thing. We're seeing volume just grow and grow and grow. And again, bunch of buying, not crazy selling, bunch of buying, not crazy selling, bunch of like, there still looks like a lot more people buying and holding than actually like buying and flipping, buying and flipping, buying and flipping. AQST, I'm still liking this. Maybe we come down just a little bit because yeah, 77 is a little high. Like I would love to bring the RSI back to 56 and then rip up to an 88, right? Like this, just reset momentum, let it fly back up, right? So I'm still liking, even though I'm saying I think it might come down just a little bit, I'm still liking this, all right? Ooh, I zoomed in too much. We got the 200 moving average just a little higher than our lines right here. Even this is a pretty high RSI, right? What did it? 78 on the 78 is high, all right? I'm sure I talked about it being this high before, right? I'm sure I had to have. It's making sense to me that it's just kind of calming down, right? Hold on, my big boss is at the door. Let me pause this one last second. Okay, I am back. I think I'm kind of done though, actually. Like I said, the weekly was here. We talked about the RSI being, again, just a little high. Yeah, I think not too shabby. Sorry, I had a couple things I had to knock out on our side. All good, obviously. Let me know if I kind of rushed this last one or if you missed anything. Obviously, if you disagree with anything, let me know. I'm still liking this. I am. Like, I think coming up to this, like, 3-something-ish test is gonna be difficult, right? Like, I mean, look, it's a brand new 200 on the weekly. We've never touched it, right? But yeah, hopefully we can kind of come up, kind of chill here, let it do its thing, and then hopefully take off from there. But I'm still liking this. Unless it gives me more reason to not, I'm still liking this. And we went up on the 8, unable to bounce up on the 20. I think it needs to tell me on this one it can use the 20. I think that's at least some nice ending thoughts there. Like, again, what am I saying, right? Like, it should have used the 20 to go back over the 8 and go on up, right? Like, don't get me wrong, it eventually did, but I don't like that eventually. It should literally go, whoop. I want that to happen on this one. If that can happen, I think that will add to my thoughts, and maybe that happens a little closer to like this 238. Again, I'm just kind of guessing where the slope of this line is going to go, right? Like if I had to guess, it was going to come down as this goes up, where it meets, right? Like probably somewhere around there. That's what I'd be watching for. So now is a good time to say it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions, even if you disagree. Otherwise, I appreciate you so much.